So a while back, me and my team placed 3 commission-only closers and an appointment setter into an Amazon FBA coaching business that was doing around 80k cash collected every single month. Within 60 days, they hit their first 146k month. And those same closers are part of a business that's doing now 500 to 600k every single month in cash collected. Now, I want to make this very clear. This wasn't just we found 3 closers and revenue exploded. That's not really how this works. So in this video, I'm going to go through exactly how we actually sourced these closers, the KPI performance that we held them to, how we screened for them to get the best quality possible for this offer, how we ramped them up and onboarded them up to KPI consistently closing, and the single strategic change we made to absolutely explode this business's revenue. Now, if you don't know me already, my name's Tom Hyder. I'm the founder of Systemized Scaling, a sales recruitment and training company that places commission-only appointment setters and closers into coaching, agency, and online service-based businesses. These businesses are typically doing over 20k a month with at least 40 sales calls every single month who want to replace themselves in sales, stop micromanaging underperforming reps, and actually allow acquisition to be consistent without them having to be in the business. Now, the thing is, if you're doing over 20, 50, 100k a month, then you likely probably don't need more leads. You just need to utilize the current leads that are in your business and automate sales. So let's start from the very beginning. The situation with this business before we came in was they had demand. They weren't struggling to get lead flow. What they were struggling with was underperforming sales reps, appointment setters, and closers, underutilized leads that were just lying in the business, no structured onboarding, ramp up, and training for sales reps, leads not being followed up properly, and the founder was still heavily involved in the sales process. There were emails untouched, dials that hadn't been done, Instagram DMs that just hadn't been opened. So before thinking about scaling this offer, the first thing to implement was just making sure leads were actually touched. That's why we hired a good commission-only appointment setter to go through all of these. And this increased call bookings by an extra 50 sales calls a month. So part 1 is actually finding the rep. Most people hire based on have they closed high ticket before, but this is a big mistake. The 4 main things that we screen for is number 1, offer compatibility, which is the most important thing that's overlooked the most. I'll give you an example. If your offer can handle paying 5 to 10k a month in commissions for a closer, but this closer is really, really good, an absolute superstar, and wants to earn 20k a month, the likelihood is they're probably not going to stick around for long. And you're going to be wasting all of the time that you're putting into onboarding, hiring, sourcing, etc. after they leave after month 2. And the other side of offer compatibility is just buyer psychology. Amazon FBA coaching businesses are typically a higher level B2C or potentially even a B2B sale. So if you're getting someone in who is used to selling single mums, young people, entry-level courses and coaching programs, they're just not going to get the authority they need on calls, and they're not going to be taken seriously. You need alignment between offer, buyer psychology, experience, and earning cap. Otherwise, you're just going to get reps churning and leaving after a couple months, if that. The second one is emotional intelligence. Do they know how to adapt based on the person they're speaking to? Do they know how to veer off the script and ask different questions depending on the context? Do they know how to handle objections without coming across pushy and a bit of a dick? In higher level, high ticket sales and offers like this, it's super important to have a rep that actually has emotional intelligence and can think for themselves. The third part we look for when hiring is just relevant experience. You don't just want to look for someone who has high ticket sales experience. Have they spoken to the lead that jumps on calls the most with your offer? Do they have experience? Because the ideal goal is they jump on calls and they can immediately command authority and respect. It's so easy to hire the wrong person, and every single prospect that jumps on a call just doesn't take him seriously and doesn't respect him, therefore just losing every single close. And the last one, which is my favorite, is intensity. Do they just want it? Do they really just want to make it work? Do you have to handhold them in training, or can they figure out for themselves? Ideally, I want to hire people who just get the job done, who do follow up without me asking them to do it, who do all their end of day reports, their admin, who actually make things work and think for themselves. And the thing is, this level of intensity is not really coachable. You either have it or you don't. And if you hire someone who doesn't have it, you're going to be micromanaging them for months and months on end. So we ended up placing 3 very different closers. One who was really charismatic and really got on well with people, people. One who is really strong with analytical type buyers who need to think about things, and one that was an absolute killer with higher level prospects, people who've been around the game, they know what they're talking about. And as I said, we placed an appointment setter to utilize all the leads that hadn't been touched. So you can probably gather by now, it wasn't just about increasing closing rate, it was about utilizing the whole ecosystem. Increasing closing rate, yes, but most importantly, getting more opportunities from thin air that you wouldn't have previously from all the leads inside your business. The likelihood is you specifically probably have over 100 leads in your ecosystem that just aren't being touched. Likes on Instagram, followers, DMs, emails, dials, people who've opted into your funnel. Now, part 2 is onboarding, where a lot of people fail and get it wrong. A lot of founders hire a closer on a Monday, then on Thursday, get them on calls. But this is the best way to waste money on ad spend and waste potential deals. So the first 7 days is not focused on sales tactics. It's focused on understanding the offer inside out. Frequently asked questions, objections, most importantly, the pitch. Every single part of the offer that they need to know. Why? Because confidence comes from clarity and understanding something. The ideal goal is we want sales reps to jump on calls and be seen as an authority, be seen by the prospect as someone that they can trust and ask questions to. Who is going to buy from someone who doesn't seem like they can actually help them or is qualified to help them? So to help them with this, we recreated the sales pitch entirely and created a offer onboarding document for closers. This handled who is the ICP, who jumps on calls, frequently asked questions that come up the most, the main objections that come up, the whole pitch, a walkthrough of how to even conduct and communicate the pitch, even case studies, transformations, and proof that the offer works. Then we just role played daily. What you want to do in this onboarding first 7 days is have a daily sales call team meeting, training with the closer to go through the pitch, role playing, even watching model calls. Now, if you don't have any model calls to watch or go through, maybe because you're not the best closer as the founder or your previous sales reps aren't the best either, what you want to do is just focus on role plays, predominantly the pitch. We want them to know it back to front. Which brings us to part 3, which is ramp up to KPI. Once closers were live after 7 days, they didn't get a full calendar. They got half availability. And then calls were reviewed on a daily basis. Me as a sales manager were reviewing their calls and giving them 1 to 3 needle movers to focus on every single day. Not 10, not 20, not 100. Goal is not to overwhelm these sales reps. We want to give them as detailed feedback as possible every single day. Now, the framework to use to see if a rep is actually going to stick on or not or perform is by 20 live calls that they've taken, ideally they should be at about a 15% closing rate. By 50 live calls, if they're not at a 20 to 25% closing rate, you either cut them and replace them, or you just see if they're on an upwards trajectory and eventually if they'll get there. So you've sort of got to make a judgment call if you feel like they'll get up to KPIs, maybe they've had a bad start. And within weeks, we stabilized close rate, cash was coming in on a very consistent basis. They had their feet dug into the ground. Now, next was when the real strategical shift came and revenue exploded. This is part 4. The original offer was 5K, and we essentially, just with sales team training, the right reps, took them from 80K to 146K a month. But what we started seeing is there was a lot of prospects that were turned off because there wasn't a done for you aspect. So what did we do? We implemented a 10K pounds, 14K USD upsell where we do it all for them. So after this, we train reps on who qualifies for the offer, how to upsell, how to price anchor, how to know when to pitch what, and how to effectively pitch it with confidence. And this is when revenue absolutely scaled without even doubling volume. With the old 5K offer that we still did use, you had to get double the amount of deals to get double the amount of revenue. With this offer, you have to get a fraction because it's a lot higher LTV. And now those same reps operate inside a business that's doing 500 to 600K a month. Each one of those reps are collecting up to 200K each in cash collected every single month, just from the right training, onboarding, sourcing, and most importantly, an upsell for them to use. So if you're doing over 20K a month and you've got at least 40 book sales calls every single month, and you either want more lead flow with the leads you've already got with an appointment setter, or you want someone to completely replace yourself in sales or replace underperforming sales reps, we'll come in, we'll place commission-only appointment setters and closers into your business. And if you want, we can train them as well. Now, if you want to learn a bit more about how the offer actually works, click the link below, watch the quick 5-minute overview. And if you want to talk a bit more, book in a call. Have a good one.